The scent of sandalwood hung heavy in the air, a dust clinging to the meticulously manicured flower beds of Elias Thorne's estate. Jed Stone, his voice roughened by dust and weary sighs, observed Thorne pacing the veranda. Clem, young and eager, stood by the marshal's side, notepad in hand. "You say the scent was strongest here, Mr. Thorne?" Jed asked, his gaze sweeping over the vibrant roses and lilies. Thorne wrung his hands, his face pale in the afternoon sun. "Yes, Marshal. I noticed it myself a few days ago. Thought it peculiar. My wife always used sandalwood incense before she passed." He trailed off, a tremor in his voice. "Your wife's death was ruled accidental, wasn't it?" Jed prompted gently. "Yes. A fall from the balcony. A tragic accident." Thorne's eyes darted away, unable to meet the marshal's steady gaze. Clem scribbled furiously, his brow furrowed with concentration. "Marshal, the forensics report it mentioned a broken railing, suggesting it wasn't just a simple fall." Jed nodded, ignoring the subtle jab at Thorne's earlier testimony. "And the sandalwood, did your wife use it frequently?" "Occasionally. For comfort. She suffered from anxieties." Thorne avoided elaborating. Jed's suspicion deepened. The elaborate estate, the evasive answers, the heavy scent of sandalwood. It all felt staged. He crouched, examining a small, intricately carved wooden mockingbird nestled amongst the roses. "What's this?" Thorne's face tightened. "A trinket. A gift from my brother." "Silas," Jed supplied. The name of Stone dropped into a still pond. "We need to discuss Silas, Mr. Thorne." The silence that followed was thick with unspoken truths. Finally, Thorne sighed, the fight draining from him. "Silas and I haven't always seen eye to eye." "That's an understatement," Jed countered, his voice devoid of emotion. "Silas Blackwood is a wanted man, Mr. Thorne, for robbery, murder, and leading a gang that terrorizes this territory." He always craved power," Thorne admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "Father's business it was meant to be shared, but Silas he wanted everything." "Your father's business," Jed pressed. "The shipping operation. What exactly was he shipping, Mr. Thorne?" Thorne hesitated, his gaze fixed on a distant point beyond the estate's boundaries. "Exotic goods. Spices, silks, rare timbers, things that weren't always acquired legally." "Smuggling?" Clem asked, his voice hushed. "More than just smuggling," Thorne corrected, a hint of bitterness in his tone. "My father exploited vulnerable communities. He built his fortune on the backs of others. Silas he saw the potential for even greater profit." "And you?" Jed asked, his gaze piercing. "Did you participate in your father's enterprise?" Thorne's shoulders slumped. "I tried to distance myself. I wanted a different life, a quiet life, but Silas he needed me. He needed my knowledge of the ledgers, the routes, the contacts." "So you helped him? You facilitated his crimes?" I sent a message. A warning to the stagecoach passengers. To Bartholomew, Mrs. Abernathy, Mr. Fitzwilliam. I told them not to travel that route." Thorne's voice cracked with a desperate plea for understanding. Jed's expression remained impassive. "And why didn't they listen?" "Silas he had other plans. He hired a man, a hired gun. I'd call him the man in the hat. He made sure the message wouldn't reach its destination. He ensured they wouldn't be warned. And he sent Silas Blackwood to murder them, to steal from them." Jed pressed, his grip tightening on his holster. "I didn't order it," Thorne exclaimed, his voice rising in protest. "I only wanted to send a message. I wanted to stop it. And the scent of sandalwood. Why the sandalwood?" Thorne pointed a trembling finger towards a small, forgotten corner of the garden, overgrown with weeds. "There's a ruby hidden there, carved in the shape of a bird. A mockingbird. A gift from Silas. It reminds me of what I've become. Trapped. Helpless." Clem retrieved the ruby and the mockingbird, placing them carefully in an evidence bag. "Marshal, the ledgers the shipping manifests they point to several offshore accounts. And the names they're all connected to Silas." "Silas wants everything," Thorne muttered, staring blankly at the ground. "He wanted my father's shipping records. He wanted the power. He sent me the mockingbird a reminder that I was just a fool." Jed stepped closer, his face grim. "You're a conspirator, Mr. Thorne. Accessory to murder. Obstruction of justice. You knowingly allowed a ruthless criminal to operate with impunity. You are under arrest." As Clem began to read the arrest charges, a lone figure emerged from the shadows near the livery stable. A man in a wide-brimmed hat, his face obscured by the shade. He paused, observing the scene, before melting back into the darkness. The sandalwood scent, briefly intensified, clung to the air, a final, haunting reminder of a family's dark legacy. The man disappeared into the night, leaving Jed with a grim sense that the ordeal was far from over.